Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Real Talk Sports Show. I'm your host, Mr. Jonathan Simmons, and we welcome you here to another live broadcast from the Lockdown Living Room. We're in the building here, back from our both being virtual and live in Tampa for coverage of Super Bowl of 54, 55, I should say. And let me just get ready. The sunglasses are back on now. And so, as I was virtual, my co-host, the lovely Miss Tree Dolman, was live and in person. We welcome her back to the show from her travels at Tampa. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, and more fantastic. Well, yeah, so good stuff. You're back. We're glad to have you back. And it was just a fantastic week in Tampa.
It was Super Bowl 55.
Super Bowl 55. And once again, tell people again who had the right prognosis for not only the two teams, but the winner.
Me!
There you go. There you go.
If you guys did not watch, or if you did not hear, what was it, about 6 weeks ago? I think that I predicted that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers would play the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl. That was my prediction. And then also, once they went, I predicted that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers would win the Super Bowl. And I will say, though, I was wrong about it being by a very slim margin. I thought that the game would be close. And honestly, had the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense not showed out, I think the game would have been closer.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. So it just was a situation where it was a perfect storm, really, for a Tampa Bay win. You had multiple linemen missing from Kansas City, two of them Pro Bowlers. And you're playing at home. You're very, very comfortable. And big shout out and kudos to Todd Bowles for making it happen. The guy just put things together. Already social media is on and popping. Let's go ahead and flip up. And immediately, Affiliate Man from Periscope.
Yeah, Affiliate Man. We love having you on the show, Affiliate Man.
Yeah, he's our man. That's our guy right there. And those of you who are watching us on Periscope on the replay, we thank you very, very much. And also, here's the cool thing. Now, as you see how the Affiliate Man now is kind of like our guy, you could be part of the show as well. Just remember, put your comments. Remember to put your comments in the social media box as he has done. And bam, we'll pop you up on the screen. And you can be a part of the Real Talk Sports Show. Well, we got a lot of great topics that we're going to talk about tonight. Good stuff. Talk a little bit about the Braves trade that's going up. Not trade, but they're signing of Ozuna, which, this is a guy that had a big bat, was a big part of the energy for the Braves. So hopefully Brian Jones will be joining us later on in the broadcast to talk about that. Tree, you heard the bad news for the Hawks, a little injury situation. Deandre Hunter is out.
Yeah.
Yep.
We definitely need all the pieces that we can get. It's really difficult when you get injuries, and we all know that really can change the way that a team is playing.
No doubt. And, he had developed into being really kind of the third option for the Hawks behind John Collins and Trae Young. And him and Clint Capella have been kind of sharing that duty of being kind of that third person you can rely on to get some points. So, yeah, he's going to be missed by the Hawks.
Definitely will be missed. And I just pray that he has a speedy recovery. It's difficult whenever you go through any injury. So we're praying for you. We hope you have a speedy recovery.
Well, already, Philip Man has a question. He said, what do y'all think about the Falcons' hire of defensive coordinator? He had actually retired. So we're going to talk a little bit about that more in our pro football section. That's going to come up probably somewhere in the 8:30 window. But we will put a pin in it, Affiliate Man. We got you there. Your man D-Led will be coming on a little bit later on. We're going to talk about all of that. We're also going to talk about the NFL honors. Tree, big stuff going on with that. All in conjunction. They kind of squeezed everything together because they did the honors and they did the Hall of Fame kind of like together. But we're going to talk about them both.
Yes. It was nice how they did it, though. We know that this is the year of maneuvering and making it work.
Well, maneuvering. You are correct. Speaking of maneuvering, I see someone who maneuvered his way into the green room. He's a gentleman that is both becoming fast and expert both in, kind of what's happening, breaking news, pop culture, and sports. Matter of fact, he's with popculture.com. The one and only Brian Jones is in the building. Brian, what's going on, man?
Not too much. How you guys doing?
Hey, man, doing great.
How you doing, Brian?
Good to see you back, bro.
Yeah. Hey, good to be back. Thanks for having me.
All right, so breaking news coming out of the Braves camp. Go over with us a little bit about Mr. Ozuna returning to the Bravos.
Yeah, so they signed him to a 4-year, $64 million deal. It's kind of surprising considering that he was looking to get 100 million, maybe 5 years, get 20 million per year. So when he signed with the Braves last year, he only signed for a 1 year, $18 million contract. So he's basically making 16 million per season. So it was a great signing. It could end up being a bargain signing for general manager Alex Anthopoulos and the Braves. It's something that the Braves needed. Spring training, they're going to start on February 18th, I believe it is. And there was some growing concern about not having that extra power bat, someone that could protect Freddie Freeman. And Ozuna last year, he led the National League in home runs with 18. He was on pace. If they played a 162-game season, he would have had over close to 50 home runs and over 150 RBIs. So getting him back is huge. I think if they didn't re-sign him and couldn't find a serviceable replacement, I don't know if the Braves would have been favorites to win the NL East. As they were looking to sign Ozuna, they were also considering signing Jock Peterson, Nolan Arenado, or George Springer, and they're all three of those guys are off the market. So getting Ozuna was huge, and I think moving forward, he's going to be a liability in left field. They didn't use him in left field much. He was a designated hitter last year. But as of right now, the National League is not going to have the designated hitter once they start the season, which will be April 1st. But they hope that what he can do offensively can make up what he can't do defensively. So this is a really great signing for the Braves.
Yeah, no doubt. So, the Braves have really they've kind of really cornered the market on getting people to sign at undervalued contracts. You remember last year, the big splash when they had the two young guns, Albies and Ozuna together. I mean, both of those guys signed for these long-time, almost lifetime contracts, and they were, way under market value. I mean, you got guys, some of these guys like Treaty. Remember that crazy signing with who was it? It was Bryce Harper. It was like over $300 million.
Well, that's one thing that the players that play for the major league, they love is the checks that they get.
Big money. And so when you look at a guy like Bryce Harper, and when you look at, guys like, Albies, and you look at all these guys, these young guys that are signing, and now with Ozuna all signing a market rate, it puts the Braves in a great position, Brian, I would think, going forward to make some huge signings if need be as the season goes on.
One of the things that Alex Anthopoulos said is having that financial flexibility. Now, fans took that as if they're not going to spend money, but what he meant by that is trying to save money so they can sign some key free agents or re-sign some players they want to moving forward. So this is why this Ozuna signing was big. As you mentioned last year, the Braves signed those long-term deals with Ronald Acuna and Ozzy Albies, or even I think it was the year before that, but yeah, I mean, they find ways. Alex Anthopoulos is just so smart when it comes to these decisions like this. And, you've heard those rumors about them zeroing in on a couple of free agents. If you hear rumors about the Braves signing someone, that means they're not going to sign someone because they don't let this stuff get out. When they signed Drew Smiley or Charlie Morton, there was not much talk about it. And even when they signed Josh Donaldson a couple years ago and Marcell Ozuna, there wasn't that much talk about it. So having the Braves sign Ozuna on a bargain is going to be huge for them moving forward. Now, does this mean that they can beat the Dodgers if they make the playoffs once again? Who knows? But I think it puts them right there with them. So again, this is a huge signing. I think this is going to pay dividends when it's all said and done.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, man, when you look at the Braves and you ask the question, can they beat the Dodgers? Well, doggone it. I mean, they've had plenty of opportunities to beat them. They've kind of these Atlanta teams are making me sick. I just wanted to let you know that. All right. Let's not be a nasty man. Let's go to social media here. It is buzzing all over the place here. We got some guys commenting here. We already had affiliate man. We also have now, guys. Here's the thing. I'm just telling you, for people watching now from all around the world, I don't have the translator. So if you are able to type it in English, please do, because I just don't have the translator hooked up right now to StreamYard, so I can't do it. But we appreciate 0.2MG for his comments. Appreciate 1LPY. Appreciate all you guys for joining in on the broadcast. But like I said again, If it's not in English, guys, I'm hoping you're not. Anyway, please, if you can, type it in English because the translator again does not work on StreamYard at this particular time. But we appreciate, guys. How cool is that? We're getting some input from all over the world.
There's nothing wrong with that. Always a good thing.
Right. So always good stuff here that's cooking. Let's see here. They're trying to give me something. There's something about nifty. I guess they're saying we're nifty. I'll take that. That goes good in any language. How about that? Well, like you said again, it has been a great big sports weekend, and like you said, a lot of things going on with the Atlanta sports teams. Tree and I talked about earlier the fact that there's the little bad news over with the Hawks with Deandre Hunter now going down with an injury and going to be out for a little bit.
Yeah, and he should be out about 3 to 6 weeks. I think that's what they're saying. And the Hawks has been having their share of issues with injuries since the start of the season. And DeAndre Hunter was off to a really good start, and he was a big reason why the Hawks have been pretty stable when it comes to competing in the Eastern Conference. So, Lloyd Pearson is pretty much the next guy up, and I think that's been their mentality for the majority of the season. So again, that's going to be a big loss for him. Not having his presence is going to make a difference, but at the same time, I think the Hawks have enough talent to where they could play 500 basketball until he comes back. So again, it's not the best loss, but at the same time, I think they'll be okay.
Well, Tree, let me ask you the question. I mean, you've been around the game. You obviously played yourself. Do you think now this impacts the Hawks' ability to go to postseason? Because everybody pretty much had them pegged at somewhere between a 6 to an 8 seed. Do you still think they make the playoffs with Hunter being out this long?
I do. I do think they still make the playoffs, and I think that they'll still be 7 or 8 seed. So we'll see what happens. But sometimes when players go down, it motivates other players. So we'll see, because we all know that when we're playing, we're not just playing for ourselves. We're playing for our team. We're playing for our teammates. And so when we have teammates that get injured, it's like, hey, we're playing for you. This game is for you. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's going to be tight here. Affiliate Man jumped in here, and he says the Atlanta sports hex is real. The Hawks are the latest victim of the sports hex. Well, like I said, I don't know what it is. All I know is, man, that this Atlanta team, the Hawks, have really had their problems. Obviously, with Collins having gone out due to a suspension, that certainly derailed them last year. And now looking at a situation where, where once again they have a key player injured. So it's going to be some tough sledding as we go along. Well, we're going to kind of move our show in a couple of different directions here. Not only are we going to talk about the NFL honors, we also, of course, we have our guests, 2 of our guests kind of waiting in the wings. And so we're going to bring them on step by step, because we're going to talk about a lot of things tonight. We're going to talk about NFL honors. We're talking about the Hall of Fame. We're also going to do a little bit about Black history, because we have a gentleman I'm about to bring on next that actually is Black history in real time. He is a guy that came from an HBCU, first-round draft pick for the Carolina Panthers. He also won not one, but 2 Super Bowl rings with the New England Patriots. We have a good friend of our show, Tyrone Poole, I think has kind of slid into the building. Tyrone, are you there, sir?
How you doing, Mr. Simmons? Thank you for having me on your show. It's an honor to talk with you again.
Well, sir, it is a pleasure to see you again. I have Mr. Brian Jones, who's always been a big contributor. You met Brian as we did the live broadcast from Restaurant 10. And then I have the lovely Miss Tree Dolman in the building, the lovely widow of Mr. Chris Dolman, a NFL Hall of Famer. So we got quite the crew tonight, sir.
Sounds good. You got your shades on. Everybody's cool.
Oh yeah. I'm still feeling the warm weather of my virtual time in Tampa. So I'm just feeling all that virtual sun here. And today here in Atlanta, unseasonably warm, 63 degrees. It felt fantastic today. So you had to pop the shades on. And plus, the other reason, Tyrone, I don't know, the last time you're with us, bro, you had so much bling and firepower. I had to put these on. You brought that Super Bowl ring in there. Let me see that background right quick. Oh, he's got all the helmets. Look at there.
His background is awesome.
Yeah.
It is.
Thank you. Got to represent everywhere from conception to birth. So Only thing I don't have up here is my high school helmet. So I got to go get Granger's helmet and put it on the shelf as well. Then I'll be complete.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you recall, Tyrone, but we did an event a few months ago with the NFL alumni with the colleges for Clark Atlanta.
Yeah.
And I was saying then that you had the best background.
Thank you. Thank you again. Dr. Harper. So yes. I remember well.
Well, Tyrone, we got our main man here, one of our great contributors from Twitter TV. He's been just a big fan of the show. He shares the broadcast, and he always likes to comment. And so he already kind of jumped the gun on me. So, Mr. Poole, you got any Tom Brady stories, any good ones? And we'll touch base on that in just a minute. But what I do want to do real quick, Tyrone, is like I mentioned when you came on, I consider you kind of Black history in real time. Obviously, playing at, I believe it was at Fort Valley State. Did I get that right?
Yeah, yes, Fort Valley State, yes.
Yep, first round pick of the Carolina Panthers, obviously 2 Super Bowls. But right now, you're doing something which I think is a big plus. We've seen another young man, Mr. Deion Sanders, do it, and now you're doing it as well. I hear some breaking news that you are now going to be on the staff of Clark Atlanta University. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, Coach Bowens, the head coach at Clark Atlanta, and also John Cook, who is integral part of that institution. He does the training, kind of like the conditioning coach, strength coach, and he and Coach Bowens, I sat down and talked with them, and my heart is with the HBCU. I started out, tried to go to Fort Valley. I'm gonna call a spade a spade. I tried to go to Fort Valley, but Fort Valley said I wasn't good enough for them. So I'm good enough to get out of the first round and play over 12 years and get 2 Super Bowls, but Fort Valley said I wasn't good enough to come and help them get over the hump. So you know what? Coach Bowen said, we'll take you. So just like real sports, like you said, real time, some teams, they don't see gold even when it's right there in their backyard. So it always have to go out just like Christ did. He couldn't perform miracles in his own hometown because of their unbelief. So he had to go out and bless people, and so that's what I'm doing now. I'm blessing Clark Atlanta and all those great students that want to go to that next level, that want to see what it's like. And, I have an opportunity to be a part of the HBCU Combine, which they didn't have it, but I'm pretty sure I'll be a part of that again. And guess who's going to be the first players that I'm going to suggest? Those players, Clark Atlanta, if they put in the work. So they'll be the first ones that I'll pass on to the HBCU Combine.
Well, man, that's something that's been for me. That's been something I've been looking forward to see, guys be able to get back in HBCUs. I'm actually going to bring you on and some other guys on in another show because, as you know, the name of the show is Real Talk Sports. So I'm not going to back down from issues that are controversial but good at the same time. One of the things that keeps coming up in my earlobes is the idea of what players are being brought back where, why schools can't get players back, what happens to some of the funding that goes to HBCU sports programs. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts back here. Like I said, I'm not going to get into on this program, but certainly I want to bring you guys back and a couple other individuals who have played with the HBCUs. So now we got to get to this before we get to our nonprofit community outreach section. I just been reminded that we're also broadcasting live audio on WIGO 1570 Atlanta's Incredible Radio, which means we have blown by the station break. So we're going to take a little break. You're listening, watching on every platform to the Real Talk Sports Show. And if you want to hear more of this great conversation, you got to keep it locked right here. Don't go nowhere. We'll be back. Are you in the market for a new vehicle? Well, check out Allen Vigil Ford Lincoln in Morrow, Georgia. We have one of the largest inventories in our area for both new and pre-owned vehicles, so we're sure to have something for everyone. Family owned and operated since 1982, customer satisfaction is our number one priority. Come see our full lineup of vehicles and find the one that best fits you. Give us a call today, 678-726-5739, or shop us 24/7 online at allenvigilford.net. Nothing better than the sound of diesel in the morning. And what better place to get high horsepower diesel than the all-new 2020 Ford F-250, now with 475 horsepower and over 1,000 foot-pounds of torque. You know where to get it? From me, the minister, Jonathan Simmons at Allen Visual Ford Commercial Sales. Because you know why? I'm the commercial truck guy in the shirt and tie. All right, we're back here, guys. Thank you, everybody. WIGO AM 1570, Atlanta's Incredible Radio, and also those of you who are listening online on WIGO's all-new website, WIGO1570.com. You also can do the audio thing by downloading the free TuneIn Radio app. The app is free, so download it. Put in WIGO 1570 in the search engine, and voila, you'll find us broadcasting to you right here and right now. And again, big shout out to all those of you watching us on the replay on Periscope, those of you watching on demand on YouTube, and of course our friends on Facebook and on Periscope as well. Well, of course, as I said, the social media guys are buzzing. We're going to go back here, and we are on Twitter TV. It says Brady is the best football player in the history of professional football. We're going to talk about that a little bit later on. And we got a big shout out from, I think that says Boston Patriot. He says, okay, gang. And there's our man, Carl Eli Smith. He is saying hello to everybody and welcome. He said he didn't play sports, but he went to Clark, and he appreciates you bringing your talents over to his alma mater. So showing you a lot of love there, Tyrone.
Yeah. And actually that Boston Tea Party, that's what that name was, the Boston Tea Party. So everybody know about back in the day, the Boston Tea Party. So do your history. But yeah, Clark, Atlanta, a lot of fans. So anywhere where I can help. So I'm just excited just to be able to give back. So
like you said, man, we appreciate you taking the time out to talk to us a little bit. We're going to have you be on standby for just a second because we always like to try to do a community outreach and spotlight. And our co-host, Ms. Tree Dolman, has a gentleman here who's going to talk to you a little bit about what he's been doing. Mr. Kendall Newsom, I think, is somewhere in the building. I'm going to search and find him in the green room, and bam, there he is. Kendall, welcome to our show.
What's up? What's up, gang? How y'all doing?
Doing good. How you doing, Nuke?
I'm chilling, you know. Always good indicator. What's up, Tyrone?
what's going on? What you doing, sir? Good to see you again.
Oh, it's always good to see you, man. What's up, Jonathan and Brian? How y'all doing?
Doing good, man.
Hey, we doing good, man. So basically, if I understand correctly, let me put them shades back on again. You just said you chilling. So in other words, you're confirming is greater in Decatur, or excuse me, I should say in Decatur where it's greater. Let me get this term right. Is that what you're telling me?
Indicator.
Yeah,
that's right.
Decatur where it's greater.
Indicator
That's
where it's greater is always good. This is my house, and this is my hood.
Oh, see, I already knew. Well, listen, Kendall, talk to us a little bit about some of the things that you have going on. Tree has been raving about you, so I'm gonna let her first ask you her first question. Hang on, let me get her on the solo screen. Tree, fire away at Mr. Kendall.
I will, but first I want everybody to know that Kendall Newsom and I go way, 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 way back. We went to college together, and so I've been knowing Kendall since undergrad, and he has been a brother to me since then. Great human being, and I really wanted to bring him on the show because he has a nonprofit organization called Teach a Child to Fish, and he does so many wonderful things with the community and with our youth, and so I wanted to bring him on. And so, Kendall, I just want you to please tell everyone about your nonprofit organization, why you started, and what your mission is.
Well, you know, guys, I got started with Teach a Child to Fish about 2008, and I just wanted to make sure that kids were in the outdoors fishing and having a great time, spending time with family, getting that added valuable time with their mother or their father, and just, you know, be able to give back to the outdoors, you know, and like in the Bible it says, give a child a fish, you eat for a day, teach a child a fish, you eat for a lifetime. So that's kind of our motto, that's what we live by, and that's what we're teaching in the outdoors.
I love it. So what made you get started with fishing?
My dad really, just giving back, and just going out there fishing and basically, when we was little, everybody around the hood was like, where you been at the last couple of weeks? I'm like, man, I've been at West Point Lake with my dad fishing on rocks and just sitting there. So, I started about 4 or 5 years old fishing and bass fishing, crappie fishing, and brim fishing.
Okay. I love it. And can you please tell everybody about your NFL career?
NFL career, it wasn't like Tyrone Poole. I can say that much. I didn't get 2 championships, but I got out there, did my best. I was drafted 7th round to Jacksonville Jaguars. Played with Ricky Williams. A lot of big time players, Jason Taylor, Zach Thomas in Miami. That was my best time of playing. I also played in Europe, but just football in general, man. Just being an athlete. And Tyrone, though, just going out there, competing every day, competing against yourself, and trying to make yourself better as a team player is what it's all about. So I wouldn't change anything about my NFL career. I'm happy and satisfied that I did make to the college Hall of Fame at MTSU. So but I wouldn't change anything about my own career.
That's funny. I was actually just about to talk about that. So you were in the last class of inductees that got inducted into the Middle Tennessee Hall of Fame. Such a wonderful honor. When I saw it, I was so ecstatic. Tell us what that means to you and your family with all of the hard work that you've gone through.
Well, it means a lot to me because, we as football players, we put in a lot, so we want to get out a lot. And if you're competitive, the competitive nature, you want all the accolades, and you don't want to brag about it so much, but you want all the accolades. And just to solidify my career with College Hall of Fame at my at MTSU and the guys that I played with, knowing that we were the first team to go to Division I school. So we were playing Florida, we were playing LSU, we were playing all the big schools, and I'm out there scoring touchdowns. I always say I'm the best receiver ever going to play at that school, so it is what it is.
Oh, that's funny. I wonder what Calico would say about that, but that's funny. Anybody else have a question? You and Calico.
Well, man, me personally, it's really more of a comment than a question. I just want to thank all of you guys that, come out of the league and say, hey, man, listen, we really feel we want to give back. I know, Tyrone, you have a very inspirational book. That's my fact. I first met you, came out at the Fellowship, not the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. I think it was the at the time it was called the North Fulton Forsyth Touchdown Club. And you came out and, really kind of told these guys about what it takes. And the other thing, it always makes the preacher happy when the men be talking about the Lord, because I think that's it's obviously sometimes it may be difficult to bring the spiritual aspect into sports, but I think the fact that when you guys say it, it almost sometimes has more impact even than the preacher, because, guys look at us like, well, but when an athlete, especially a younger guy, says, hey, man, listen, this is kind of what has helped me, I think it really can help a lot of young men find their way to the Lord, and which is going to be impactful on the type of people that they become.
Yeah, that's again, anytime you can just be impactful to anybody's life. It doesn't matter if it's on the field, off the field. I think everybody plays a great role. Everybody has some type of gift, some type of talent that they can give back to help others. You may not be in the same experience that someone else may be in, but the principles on how to get out of those situations are the same. I definitely believe that. What I mean by that is, just to give an example, somebody could be in the 20s, 30s, the counting system, 1, 2, 3, like that, 20, 30, 40s. It doesn't matter what level you are in life. 30 is supposed to be more than 20, 40 is supposed to be more than 30. The one thing that they have in common, the principles, the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, they all start with 0. They all go up to 9. So as long as you keep the principles in line, it doesn't matter what level of life you go to, you're always going to be able to have ultimate success, as I call it. So we all have talents and gifts, and We're just supposed to give back at whatever level. Now, that doesn't mean we're for everybody. I'm not for everybody. There are a lot of people that can't take what I tell them to do. That's okay. But for those who are going down that path, I could be very helpful and impactful to them. Those are the people that I'm sent to. So let those who have ears, let them hear, thus says the Lord, as they say. So I've learned that I'm not for everybody. So I just got to be me. And those who are walking down my path, and there will be some other people that will come down my path because I followed somebody else's path. The experiences are different, but the principles on how to get out never change. So God says heaven and earth will pass away before his word will. So it's just all about giving people the principles and let their own experience take them to the level of their talent.
And Kendall, how about you? What kind of was the thing that kind of drove you to get more involved and to give back?
Man, I mean, he said it great. Say that again, though.
Yeah, so I was saying, kind of, what was the thing that really kind of motivated to really say, hey, look, I'm gonna put my feet on the ground and give back with my organization?
Oh, same thing. I mean, you have a lot of kids in the neighborhood that grow up around gang violence, drugs, prostitution, you name it. The list goes on and on and on. And me growing up, going fishing when I was little, I saw some things that were different, and I just wanted to come back and show that, when a kid at 14 years old or 10 years old walk outside their house in the outdoors, they're greeted with drugs, violence, prostitution on every street corner or whatever. And when a person walk outside, they got jet skis and everything. They're having a great time. So the atmosphere is different. So I wanted to just show kids that, this atmosphere that they're living in don't have to be like this. You can change your course. But you have to be, like Tyrone said, you have to be dedicated. You have to be able to listen. You have to be coachable. So just giving back is something that I love to do.
Like I said, man, it's just a great thing to see it and to hear it. And I'm glad that you guys are able to join us today. Let's go back out here to social media here. And these guys on social media, they're very happy you're involved in the community, but they're like, look here, man, we're going to get some football talk. So let's go here. We got Roman God 5. He says, tell them how good that Tom Brady really is. And he also says, same thing. Can you really tell them how great Tom Brady is? Well, guys, we're going to talk about that in just a few more minutes. We're going to come out of this and we're going to get into the Super Bowl. We're also going to talk NFL honors and talk about the Hall of Fame as well. Matter of fact, let's go and kind of, while we have, before we go to the break, let's take a peek here. Tree, what did you think about the awards? They kind of compressed them a little bit, but the guys that got the awards, it looks like they all were very deserving of that award.
I definitely think everybody was deserving. My favorite award was the one that went to Russell Wilson. I really think he's just a standout guy. I've always been a fan of his character. One thing about me is that we know that there's a lot of great athletes out there, but what matters most is who you are as a person, your character, how you treat people. That is what really matters more to me than what you do on the field. So I think it's really wonderful when you have a football player who is also an awesome football player, but he really cares about his community and he cares about how he treats people. And so even with his Why Not You Foundation, which I've been a fan of for many years, I love what he does when he goes into the hospitals and visit the patients. I was not aware that he had been doing it since his rookie season and that he actually goes every Tuesday. Just a phenomenal guy. And so seeing him win the Walter Payton Award, I think was just outstanding. And I really loved his speech that he gave, which just truly shows his heart and the type of person that he is. So very well deserved. And it really just made me happy.
And how about some of the other guys? They're all first ballot, of course. Peyton Manning is Peyton Manning. We all know about him. Tyrone, I know that that was a guy when you played with the Patriots that, you guys had to scheme like crazy to make sure that he didn't, do his thing when he played against the Patriots. And, of course, a guy that we actually, I don't say predicted, but last year I had a chance to go to the NFL, taste the NFL while we were covering the Super Bowl in Miami and had a few words with Charles Woodson. And mistakenly at that time said a couple of times, hey, we're here with NFL Hall of Famer Charles Woodson. He said, not yet. I said, well, it will be. And so here he is the next year inducted as well. So just, man, great to see those guys, every single one of them. And just even the way they kind of did the kind of sneak surprise on them. You know, like the house. They come into the house and like at the pool. So, yeah, definitely great stuff. Tyrone, chime in for me a little bit on the Defensive Player of the Year. Something kind of popped up a little interesting, a little social media pushback from J.J. Watt saying, hey, my brother had better stats than Aaron Donald. And looking at these two guys, both of them were impact players. Do you think they might have missed it with Defensive Player of the Year?
Well, I want to add in an award that was given that I think this is an award that basically you can give this out to a regular human being, so to speak. When I say regular human being, a non-athlete, and that award is the comeback award. You know, so many times in life that we fall down, tragedy happens. You know, you don't wake up every day and the sun is shining, and there are moments where you want to give up and to like work hard and get yourself back when other people have counted you out. So I'm pretty sure Alex Smith, a lot of people told him he would never play football again. It's over. Give it up. But in his mind, he's like, you know what? I know what I have. I know what I can do. I don't know what Alex Smith's belief is on a spiritual level, but I got to believe that he has enough fire. He had enough fire. He does have enough fire. That's why he came back. So that award means a lot to me, more than probably some of the other ones, like the Defensive Player or Offensive Player of the Year, because that comeback award, man, that means you fell down. And probably there were some people who gave up on you, but you didn't give up on yourself. And you came back and you made people take notice. So my hat goes off to Alex Smith, man. But as far as Aaron Donald, you know, I think it's not all about the stats. It's all about what your peers think of you to a point. Aaron Donald is a guy that, man, you got to double that guy. You know, it's like, you know, back in the day, Jerry Rice is like, we had to know where he was. Even though Jerry probably only caught who I think Jerry's probably one of the greatest receivers to ever lace him up. When you got three guys doubling, tripling you, that means you're very impactful. So no, Aaron Donald may not have had the stats, JJ, but we all know, and JJ knows as well, when you're getting double teamed, that says more about how dominant you are. Even if you finish with only 5 sacks, if somebody else on your team got 15 sacks, well, because they doubled and triple teamed you, that allowed that other person to get to 15. So I think what they looked at is the peers said, you know what, man, this guy here, we got a game plan for Aaron Donald. If we don't stop him, we're not winning. So regardless if he had all the stats or not, I look at the fact of how impactful he was in that game plan of that offensive team. So everybody in the NFL said he was very impactful. So I'm going with everybody else.
Well, that's spoken from a man to play defense, guys. You got it right there. Look, everybody, we got to take another station break here. You're listening, watching, tuned in on your phones, on your tablets, however you're doing it, to the Real Talk Sports Show. We got everybody you can think of in the building. We have the lovely beauty queen, Miss Tree Dolman. We have a guy that is an expert on pop culture and sports, Brian Jones. We have Mr. Kendall Newsome, former NFL player and a community activist, and Tyrone Poole, 2-time Super Bowl winner, and himself also a guy impacting the community. You want to hear more from them? Well, you know what you got to do. You got to keep it locked right here for more of the Real Talk Sports Show. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. Did you know that Allen Vigil Ford in Morrow, Georgia also has Lincoln? Over 35 years of using the Vigil Touch to provide excellent customer service, works hand in hand with the Lincoln Motor Company to provide a luxurious and seamless way to acquire your next luxury vehicle. Lincoln has an array of full-service complimentary owner benefits. These benefits include hospitality partnerships, service pickup and delivery, all which can be accessed through the Lincoln Way app. You can even contact the 24/7 concierge to have someone assist you. Come and see our great inventory of new and pre-owned Lincolns today. Call 678-364-7345 to make an appointment with one of our brand champions, or shop 24/7 online at allenvigillincoln.net.
This is OJ Howard with Real Talk Sports.
What's up, guys? This is Tim Tebow. You're listening to Real Talk Sports.
This is Charles Woodson. Let me grab the mic. You ready? This is Charles Woodson with Real Talk Sports. Hey, it's your boy JB Smooth with Real Talk Sports.
That was my man, JB Smooth. So I had to put the shades back on. So he was very smooth. Well, everybody, welcome back here to the Real Talk Sports Show. I'm your host again, Mr. Jonathan Simmons, bringing you sports from a different perspective, trying to give you the good news in sports and not just the bad news all the time. We got a wonderful group of guests here. Tree Dolman in the building, Brian Jones in the building, Kendall Newsom, and Tyrone Poole, not one, but two-time Super Bowl winner in the building. All right, social media, I got you. Time to talk a little football. Let's go ahead to social media here and said glad that Drew got in. All right, then we're talking about the Hall of Fame. My cousin Freddie Simmons giving me a big shout out from back home in Connecticut. We appreciate all you guys who allow me to share this on the program on your YouTube page. There's a Facebook page called Washington Village Reunion Page. I grew up in a little project in Norwalk, Connecticut called Washington Village. It is now gone. They recently torn it down, but thank you guys for sharing. Look, the minister is still hanging tough. And also to my alma mater, who has a YouTube page, a Facebook page that let me share on. Brian McMahon, alumni. Appreciate you. As you can see, one of the alumni brothers is still holding it down. Let's go back to social media. Roman God 5, he says, Tyrone is the man helping my Pats and Brady and winning 2 Super Bowls. He said, much respect. And affiliate man says, Mr. Poole, who is the best you faced did you get a chance to square off against Randy Moss?
Yeah, I guess I'll let Kendall ask some of those questions. But you know what? Hands down, I said it probably about 4 minutes ago. Jerry Rice is hands down the best receiver to ever lace up a pair of cleats, and I am a real big football historian. I was watching football, the highlights, NFL films, the best wide receivers, the best running backs, best quarterbacks when I'm like 5 years old. So I know about the United's and I know about the Raymond Berries. And I'm like, Jerry Rice is the guy that put fear into everybody. Randy Moss is a great receiver. I think Terrell Owens is right up there as well. So, there are a lot of great receivers, but again, Jerry Rice, when you look at the record books, man, it's Jerry Rice and then it's everybody else.
Kendall, you chime in. Who's the best guy you ever laced up and played against?
I would say I remember getting my head knocked out by Ray Lewis. I remember when I was playing on the Dolphins, but just that whole Baltimore defense when I was there. I think the guys that I played with, Patrick Surtain and Sam Madison, DBs at the Miami Dolphins, that's when the Dolphins had the best defense with those guys. So going up against those guys every day in practice, man, I had to earn my own,
As far as you mentioned that, the name of Patrick Surtain, isn't it crazy, man, that his son is like now going to be considered a top 5 draft pick and possibly coming here to the Falcons?
Yeah, we need some help down here with the Falcons. Come on.
I'm just saying. All right, so I'm going to put this question out here. Brian, I'm going to let you take a shot at this here, and I'm going to let our 2 NFLers take a shot as well. It was one of the questions we had talked about here, and so the question I have is not only Tom Brady the best quarterback, but is he the best player ever to lace him up in the NFL, considering his record of 10 Super Bowl appearances in 20 years and 7 victories. And I think he has, if I'm not mistaken, it was 3 MVPs. So you think he's the best player overall or just the best quarterback overall?
So this is interesting. And Jerry Rice actually talked about this because before him, some people, if not most people, considered him as the greatest football player of all time. And he was asked about this in I think a radio station in California, and he said, no, this goes to Tom Brady because of the 7 Super Bowl rings. So he never really liked being called, having that GOAT status anyway, because for him, it's just all about winning Super Bowls. But when it comes to Tom Brady, I think what he was able to do this year to lead the Bucs to a Super Bowl in his first year as a starter with the team and not really having a training camp or a preseason, that is pretty amazing. They started off kind of a little bit slow, but they were able to pick things up. And once they got things rolling, no one could stop them. But I think when you look at Tom Brady's overall career, the 10 Super Bowls, the 14 conference championships, he's won 5 Super Bowl MVPs, 3 NFL MVPs. He's thrown for over 70,000 yards, has over 500 touchdowns. It's hard to argue against him being the greatest football player of all time. And he's doing this at 43 years old. He wants to play until he's 45. He could probably play until he's 50 based on the way he's going. So I think when it's all said and done, I think you can make a very, very, very strong argument of him being the greatest football player of all time.
Yeah, so I mean, it really, those numbers that you just mentioned are just staggering. I mean, when you look at it, and I tell you something else that's been floating around out on social media, they actually had Tom Brady's career broken up into 2 10-year segments, and each one of the 10-year segments on their own would probably make him a first ballot Hall of Famer, and he's got 2 of them. And there was a gap in his Super Bowl wins, I think, of almost a decade. So yeah, man, it's going to be hard to argue that this guy is not, possibly the greatest to lace him up. Now, I got a guy in the green room. When I just asked the question about was he the best quarterback, he sent me a text with a picture of another player from another era. But I will let him speak for himself. You know him, ladies and gentlemen, as the embedded beat writer for the Atlanta Falcons and the AJC newspaper here in Atlanta. He also is an award-winning sports writer, and he is Esquire par excellence and a great teacher of students all across Georgia. The one and only D. Orlando Ledbetter is in the building.
Hello, Reverend Simmons. Thanks for having me today. And this esteemed panel you've assembled here, Mr. Newsom, Mr. Pooh, Ms. Dolman, and Brother Jones here. Glad to see you all this evening.
Always great seeing you.
Likewise.
Well, now he sent me a picture of a guy that I believe won in his career. Now, again, this is pre-Super Bowl era. I believe he won a total of 10 professional football championships, and he sent me the picture of Otto Graham. Is that correct, D-Led?
That is correct. He went to 10 straight championship games, pre-Super Bowl era, 1946 to 1955. He won 7. So Brady tied him. So if we're just going to count the NFL from 1962, yeah, you could say Brady's the greatest of the modern era. But if we're going to go back and do our history, Football League was founded in 1921 in the Auto Room in Canton, Ohio. We're just going to throw those years away. Let's, go ahead. But if we're not, you got to look at Otto Graham as one of the all-time greats. I'm not saying Brady, he's the greatest, but if you're going to talk about the greatest of all time, then that means everybody gets counted. And you got to pay some homage to Mr. Otto Graham and the Cleveland Browns, who were integrated at the time. Not all of the teams wasn't that many teams. Yeah, but he played without a face mask too. And he played when you could, and I know Mr. Pooh would have loved to be playing back then when you could hit the receivers all the way down the field until the ball was in the air. We know the rules are tilted to the offense now, and nobody could play till they were 43 back in those days because of medicine and technology, and because of the soft rule changes. Reggie White and Lawrence Taylor were killing quarterbacks, so they started letting them throw the ball away when they got outside the pocket. So let's notice when we start talking about Brady, let's talk about all of it. The softening of the rules, the deflate gate. We don't just get to sweep all this under the rug now. So everybody's getting amnesia about the whole thing here. So let's talk. We're going to do the greatest of all time. We're going to do a thorough investigation. And, that's all I was telling you, Reverend Simmons.
I had to put my shades on because some fire come from D-Led. So I said, let me put my shades on right quick. All right, so let's go here. And also, here's a rebuttal here from Roman God 5. He said, players are stronger, faster, and their health regimen is better today than back then. So I guess his argument is that the skill set of the players is better. So if you can achieve greatness in this era, that makes you greatest overall. And that debate is going to go. But I will say this, though. The stats, man, are just – the numbers almost don't make sense.
Well, they don't. We have problems in the Hall of Fame meetings every year because these receivers are coming up with these ungodly numbers, and it's like, okay, with how many touchdowns would Paul Warfield have if he played in this era where you can't touch people? So the numbers are tough. Sorry for talking over Brother Poole there. Sorry about
that. I just want to add, it's easy for a lot of people to look at certain things, but I think one of the things that's been overlooked is even when you speak of Otto Graham would not have been who he was if it had not been for Paul Brown, who put him in a system. So think about it. What if Tom played for the Atlanta Falcons? But what I'm trying to say is we overlook the greatest part, which is a system. A system. I know people say New England's a system, but it's systems everywhere. Your utility that run through your house runs on a system. So it just depends on how great that system is. Now, I believe, just me personally, anybody, not just Tom, I give Tom all the great respect. I think what makes Tom win is his desire and fire. That is what makes him separate him from everybody else. There are other stronger players, there are other faster players, but his heart and his strength is his fire. But I do believe that Bill Belichick played a great role in Tom being who he is. I think Belichick took what Tom did when Drew Bledsoe got injured. If it had not been for that hit from Lewis, we would Tom. So actually, Belichick took Tom and turned Tom in. He poured his mindset into Tom Brady, and Tom took what I believe Belichick gave him, and he took it to another level. It's just like all of us who have kids. We pour into our kids what we've learned, and then our kids take it to another level. So even whether in Tampa Bay, Tom took and said from New England, we got to have people in places that they can go and do their job. And he went to Tampa and told Bruce Arians, this is what you need to win. A tight end, you need some outside, you need a running back, somebody can catch the ball. So he knew the principle of winning. So he positioned himself. So I think we do Bill Belichick we don't do him justice and all these coaches, Paul Brown, all the Bill Walsh, people talking about Joe Montana. It was the coach that put the player in position to be great, and the player did their job. It's kind of like with God, and I'll close with this. God does bless us, but we have to put in the work too. But it's God's super on our natural that makes us supernatural. So I think, that's a part of it too. It's like, the chicken and the egg, so that's how I think about it. Tom wouldn't be Tom if it wasn't for some of the coaches. I would primarily say Belichick played a role in his greatness. I'm pretty sure Tom would say the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, y'all said a mouthful right there, man. I mean, there's no doubt that when you look at this, it's always hard to say, who's the greatest of anything. When you talk about multiple different eras, I mean, for a long time, up until maybe about 5 or 10 years ago, a lot of people said that Jim Brown was the greatest player ever in NFL history because he was, again, so dominant during his short period of time. I mean, and then guys, of course, will say, well, hey, he was a lot bigger than a lot of guys today. I said, okay, well, let me ask you a question. I said, I can put that to rest really quickly. Jim Brown, his general physique is about the size of Derrick Henry. Now, what's Derrick Henry doing in the NFL right now?
Running over people.
All right. So, if a guy, Tyrone, you hit it on the head. What makes Tom Brady a champion is his mindset. I heard a small anecdotal thing from the young linebacker, Devin, I think his last name is Smith, maybe. Okay. Devin White. He said that they were in the locker room after the NFC Championship game, and a couple of guys started crying. Because Tyrone, when and Kendall, the same thing. If you got stories behind your playing on a championship team, if you were maybe a 5th round pick or 4th round pick, or a guy been cut a couple of times, and now you're thinking, I'm gonna reach my dream, go to the Super Bowl, man, that's it. And they said that Tom charged out from behind his locker room and cussed the guys out. Said, what the F are y'all crying for? We haven't won nothing yet. We got another game to win. And they said they were taken aback, but what they realized is that Tom kept saying after the thing, he said, hey, man, the reason why this is good is because we finished what we came here for. Yeah, he letting you know that if we got in here and messed around and lost to Mahomes, he would have been like, okay, I got no joy in this. I'm here to win. Even more so than a check. I'm here to win. So that's why I think the ingredients with all these guys that are great, they got what Tyrone said earlier, man. It's that heart and mindset of a champion.
Yeah. Where did Tom learn that from? He learned it, I believe, from New England. You know,
no doubt.
Oh, I think he learned it from the University of Michigan, but
man, we couldn't. I knew we weren't going to make it another 2 seconds before the hometown gal from Detroit, Michigan, had to say it's all about the maize and blue. Well, that's a perfect segue because you know what? There's a station whose colors are blue and white, but they only carry our audio until 9 o'clock. That's WIGO 1570, Atlanta's Incredible Radio. Listen, guys, we know you guys got to go. We appreciate you for joining us. But here's the cool thing. If you want to continue to hear us, go to our YouTube page, and you can still, listen to the audio as well. No problem. Big shout out to the guy behind the glass, the one and only Eli Smith, legendary gospel DJ here in the Atlanta area. For years was on WYZE on their morning program, and you can hear him right now on WIGO. Monday through Fridays, 9 a.m. to 12 noon, with the exception of Wednesday. He brings you all the great gospel hits from stuff in the past that your grandmama and them used to listen to everything up and today, like Corinne Hawthorne, all the contemporary gospel artists. Check them out again. Monday through Friday, except for Wednesdays, 9 a.m. to 12 noon on the Eli Smith Show. All right, everybody, WIGO, you know how we sign off every time we leave you. God bless you and have a great night. Don't go nowhere, social media. Hold up. Y'all can't go. We're still right here on the Real Talk Sports Show. I'm going to take a little tiny break, but we'll be back for more. Remember, don't go nowhere. You might miss something. Hang on. Are you in the market for a new vehicle? Well, check out Allen Vigil Ford Lincoln in Morrow, Georgia. We have one of the largest inventories in our area for both new and pre-owned vehicles, so we're sure to have something for everyone. Family owned and operated since 1982, customer satisfaction is our #1 priority. Come see our full lineup of vehicles and find the one that best fits you. Give us a call today, 678-726-5739, or shop us 24/7 online at allenvigilford.net. All right, guys. As you can see, I'm quite the man about town with the Real Talk Sports Show. Never know where we might be. And you never know what esteemed guests we might have here on the panel. And we have the best of the best. Going around the circle here right next to me, the lovely, beautiful beauty queen herself, Miss Treat Dolman in the building. Brian Jones, the guy who gives us the best worlds of both pop culture and sports. Check him out on popculture.com. D. Orlando Ledbetter, embedded beat writer for your Atlanta Falcons here for AJC Sports. Mr. Kendall Newsome, former NFL player and community activist, and of course, 2-time Super Bowl winner, and also a guy who's impacting community with an HBCU right here in Atlanta, the one and only Tyrone Poole. All right, guys. We've been talking about Tom Brady, talking about the Super Bowl. Just want to go around the panel really quickly. What do you think was kind of the key to Tampa Bay's victory? D. Orlando Ledbetter will ask you first. What do you think was I know a lot of things going on, but what do you think was the big key for Tampa Bay doing what they did?
Yeah, they were able to brutalize that offensive line. 2 sacks, 8 quarterback hits, 2 interceptions. They had a mismatch with the tackles out. And then, they got Brian Lefferts got creative in the red zone, spring and grunt, especially for that second touchdown. I don't know how he comes open. But after that kind of set the tone for the New England victory.
Tyrone, how about you? What do you think was the big key for Tampa Bay's victory?
Well, again, leadership in the locker room. You just talked about that, alluded to that leadership in the locker room. But also, I look at Kansas City, where Andy Reid went through. I think that played a role. Kansas City was missing, I believe, both of their tackles. That plays a role. But here's the biggest thing that I look at coming out of that Super Bowl: Eric Bieniemy. This was Eric Bieniemy's opportunity to really show the world that, you know what, I am a head coach. My head coach, the one who I work up under, he just went through something. I'm now going to take over this team, and I'm going to show that we are not only the Kansas City Chiefs, but I am head coach quality. So I think Eric Bieniemy missed out on that opportunity in the Super Bowl. That's just my opinion there. But I just think a few injuries, and also just you saw it in Tyrann Matthews. I think the Chiefs never really had a situation like that they had to fight through, and it kind of showed in the Super Bowl. Tampa Bay kept their composure. Kansas City started to unravel. So when you get in a big game like that, that's not the time to start losing your head.
Kendall, what about you?
Well, I think Tampa Bay just really gave them an old-fashioned butt whooping.
Wow.
And it just comes down to coaching on the Tampa Bay side, really, man. Their defensive line. Tampa Bay got like 4 coaches over there. I think their staff is really good. I just think Kansas City didn't show up to play that game, man. I don't know what was going on with them. They got a real butt whooping. I mean, they ain't scored a touchdown. So that's a butt whooping. I just think it was an old-fashioned butt whooping. That's what I think.
All right, Ms. Tree Dolman, what do you think was the magic pill for Tampa Bay?
I think that the magic pill was defense, defense, defense. I have said it numerous times that it doesn't matter how great an offense is if you play great defense. And I am truly one of the game fans who believe that defense wins championships. I've said before, yes, teams can score, but you have to have great defense to stop the offense from scoring, and you have to be able to make plays and make stops. And if you look at the game, the Kansas City Chiefs, it's not like they were playing bad. Look at a lot of the throws that actually, if defense had not swatted the ball down or knocked the ball out of the way, it would have been touchdowns and they would have scored touchdowns. But the defense really just came to play, and the defense shut down the Kansas City Chiefs. And it was like they were running around with their heads cut off because defense just really was not letting them get anything. They shut them down the entire game. And so I think that the big difference of the game was defense.
Brian Jones, your comments, sir. What was the big key for you in watching the Tampa Bay victory?
So I think for Tampa, what they were able to do was run the football, really control the clock, and put a lot of pressure on the Chiefs offense. Ronald Jones and Leonard Fournette, I think, combined had over 150 yards rushing, and it made things a lot easier for Tom Brady and able to find Gronk or Antonio Brown. So I think running the ball was big for Tampa Bay. And then also on the opposite side for the Chiefs, they just could not get anything going offensively because, as Tree mentioned, the defense just frustrated Patrick Mahomes the entire game. They were blitzing constantly, putting pressure on him. And normally, if the Chiefs are in that situation, they can burn a team downfield. That wasn't the case in the Super Bowl. So, it was just – and then also with the Chiefs, those penalties early in the game, that really set the tone for them to struggle in the second half. I think they had 11 penalties in that game. So everything that went wrong for the Chiefs, it really caused them to have their worst loss since Patrick Mahomes became a starter in 2018. So, even though and hats off to the Bucs, I think they played outstanding throughout the entire playoffs. And I think I wouldn't be surprised if these two teams are back in the Super Bowl next year.
Won't be surprised. Let's go to social media here. Affiliate Man says that Tom just wanted it more than anybody else, it seemed like. Yeah, he just seemed like I was not going to be denied. Roman God 5 said he just wants to give a shout out to the beautiful Tree. And then, of course, that's why he immediately agreed that Tree is right. Tom Brady was great at Michigan.
Yeah.
God have mercy. See,
Well, listen, don't hate on Michigan. One thing that I get tired ever since I moved to when I went to college in Tennessee and moved to Georgia, all you hear about is SEC, SEC, SEC. The Big Ten is not good if the Big Ten and the SEC played. And it's just like, I understand, don't get me wrong. I'm not taking away from the SEC. The SEC is definitely a great conference, but the Big Ten is also a great conference. And we still have great players that come out of the Big Ten as well. So you have Tom Brady, who played at Michigan, came out of the Big Ten, arguably the best quarterback to ever play the game in the NFL, breaking all of these records. Look at all of the records that he holds. You have Charles Woodson, went to Michigan, won the Heisman Trophy, inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So I'm just always going to root for, especially my Michiganders that went to the University of Michigan, but people that went to the Big Ten, just because you always just hear people talking about the SEC.
Now, can I say this about the SEC? Now, I was waiting for an opportunity to say this. If it had not been for the Patriots, would we be sitting here saying Peyton Manning actually is about to get his 6th Super Bowl? Now, if the Colts had been in the NFC like they were back in the 60s, then you would have seen Tom and Peyton matching up every time in the Super Bowl. But because they were in the same conference, you know, I'm like, and Peyton's from the SEC, so that's why I brought up Tennessee, just to do it.
Yeah, he did. I watched Peyton because he went to the University of Tennessee, so I watched him his entire college career. Yes. Yeah. Definitely another great quarterback who is also a first ballot Pro Football Hall of Famer going into the class this year. So I'm really excited about him as well.
Well, okay, there's a lot of firepower going back. Now, see, guys, you notice now when we were getting the compliments from Roman Godfather, we saw.
Let me say this about Tom Brady.
Smile. Go ahead. Kendall? All right, we're waiting for Kendall's mic to kind of get rebooted. There he is.
Let's think about Tom Brady. Tom Brady pulled off a LeBron James move in Tampa Bay. So my mic is kind of off a little bit, guys. So I'm going to stay back in.
No worries, kind sir. Live radio does that from time to time. So, yeah, Roman got 5 said Brady's management of time. He ate huge chunks of it up. Really didn't give Kansas City much opportunity, especially once they got behind. And the objective of the goal of football is to outscore your opponents, not how much you can shut them out. So, really, the whole thing was this. This is my take on it. Biggest thing is 2 things. One, I agree with Tyrone that Eric Bieniemy might have missed an opportunity to show people his mettle. Certainly the entire Kansas City offensive staff to some degree was outcoached by Todd Bowles. Now, we don't want to in any way diminish the fact that they lost, I believe, not 1 but 2 Pro Bowlers off an offensive line, and that's a lot to make up for. But they made no adjustment. It kind of reminded me of the Miami versus San Francisco Super Bowl back in the mid-'80s. Bill Walsh came up with a very ingenious way to try to stop Dan Marino. He knew I need to be able to put pressure on him with 4, but I also need to make sure that he has no options if he does have time. So he came out and ran a 4-1-6 defense. If you remember that, he had 1 linebacker, he had basically 4 down linemen and 6 defensive backs. Well, if you looked at the scheme that Todd Bowles had, it was something similar. They ran basically a 2-4-5. So it's the same thing. You could bring pressure from any of those edge areas. The pressure was one that was very hard to block because since you didn't have the 4 down linemen, the linebackers could rush from any position. And then, of course, when he did have time, with 5 defensive backs playing the whole game with 2 deep safeties, there was nowhere for him to throw the ball. So the inability for Kansas City to adjust, especially to me, not running the ball more in the second half, I said, this is a wrap. And, of course, the biggest play to me in the whole game was the touchdown at the end of the half that made it 21-6 instead of 17-6 or 14-6. Once I saw that, I said I could turn the game off right now. So that was my biggie. That whole end of the half touchdown and inability to adjust. All right, we got a little time left here. Enough Super Bowl, enough Tom Brady. I think we've given him enough love. Let's talk Falcons. D. Orlando Ledbetter, just 4 years ago, hard to believe, 4 years ago, that the same Tom Brady that we're talking about have been totally bamboozled and broken down by the Atlanta Falcons. And with about 5 minutes to go in the third period of play, about 20 minutes to go or less the entire game, the Falcons were up 28-3. Now, of course, we now know 4 years later, Mr. Brady has won a couple more Super Bowls, and the Falcons are now in a rebuild mode. D-Led, what do the Falcons need to do to get back to the bowl?
Yes, that anniversary was on Friday, and we don't need to rehash all of the collapses there. I mean, it wasn't the coaches choking. It wasn't, one player here. It was, missed blocks, penalties. You got the game won on the pass to Julio on 3rd and 1, and you decide to throw the ball. So we don't have to go look at all that. We got to turn the page at some point. In 4 years is about enough time to do that. So you got a new coach, new general manager in town. They are evaluating the roster. It looks like they are giving it a favorable evaluation because they're going to keep a lot of the players here that are under contract. Now the next step is going to be to get under the salary cap by March the 17th. So some players are going to have to be released. There's only a couple I want to keep anyway, but Keanu O'Neal, DeMonte Casey, Ricardo Allen, he's a contract guy. I want to try to keep those 3. But I can't think of any of the other free agents that I just gotta have. So they gotta fix the line, offensive and defensive lines, and get a running back. It's no clue what they need to do. They gotta. They don't have a pass rush, not even anything close to what Tampa Bay had. Maybe you could save Dante Fowler. You can't. You're not going to win any football games when your quarterback is getting sacked 40 times. So until you fix the offense and defensive lines, don't even talk to me about the playoffs. That's where I'm at right now with the Atlanta Falcons. Terry Fontenot and new coach Arthur Smith. I wish them the best in fixing those lines.
Roman got 5, of course, bring up the fact that the Falcons, like many Atlanta Metro teams, have a tendency to kind of. But let's get away from that. We'll throw no more shade.
It wasn't a choke. It was a collapse. It was an utter collapse. They didn't choke. Choke is, me being short on a free throw. They just fell all the way apart.
That sums up right there. Well, so now if you look at this team. So you talked about the fact that they need O-line help. They need to be able to keep Matt upright. And for those Falcons fans who have been slamming away at Matt Ryan, and even to me, some respect, you saw what happens when you don't have a good offensive line. Patrick Mahomes can throw the ball 80 yards in the air. He runs probably 2 times faster than Matt Ryan. But when he was running for his life, he completed less than 50% of his passes because he was running for his life. Couldn't do anything at all. So there's no question the Falcons have to do that. So now my question to the whole panel is, at that number 4 pick, number one, do you keep the number 4 pick? I'm asking each one of you guys that. And if you do, now I know this is a loaded question depending on who's available, but are you basically pinned down to say, I want to rebuild this team with an offensive tackle or edge rusher if they're available, or do you go for the best athlete available? Tyrone Poole, you first, sir.
Well, I'm going to say this real quick. I'm going to give you my little synopsis of what I think the Falcons could do. Now, quarterback. I think Matt Ryan's a good quarterback. I think Matt Ryan can go and play in a lot of places. The Falcons may have to make a decision on, that salary cap hit. But I would love to see the Falcons send somebody to Houston, whether Calvin Ridley or Julio Jones, and that 4th round pick for Deshaun Watson. And bring Deshaun Watson here to Atlanta. So if you let Ridley go, you still got Julio. He's a number 1 receiver. If you let Julio go to Houston, you still got Calvin Ridley. I think he's a number 1 receiver. But in today's formations of offenses, you need 3 great receivers. Just like on defense, you need 3 starting corners. It used to be you get away with 1 corner, and the other guy could be, okay. But now you need 3 starting corners. So basically, go get Deshaun Watson. Send your 4th round pick to Houston. Send a wide receiver because Houston needs a wide receiver. And that's just my vision of what I would do. But of course, I'm not Arthur Blank, and I'm not on the coaching staff.
Brian Jones, what do you think the Falcons should do with this number 4 pick?
Yeah, it's funny that he mentions Deshaun Watson because I got a chance to interview Tiki Barber a couple weeks ago, and I asked him what should they do with Deshaun Watson, and he said they should trade him to either the Falcons or the 49ers. And, I got a chance to watch Deshaun Watson when he was at Gainesville High School, one of the best high school players I've ever seen. And when he won the state championship his junior year, the next day, because he was working the Falcons as a ball boy, he went up to Flowery Branch and started catching passes from Roddy White and Julio Jones. So he has the ties with the Falcons. But when it comes to the number 4 pick, I think they're in a situation where, a lot of people are saying they should take a quarterback, maybe offensive lineman, maybe linebacker. I think they should just take the best player available simply because you have so many holes on both sides of the football, and you just need to get a playmaker, whether it's on offense or on defense. They could trade down. I could see them doing that, but if it was me, I would keep the number 4 overall pick and try to get a bona fide playmaker because, again, with a situation where you have so many holes and you just need players that can step up and contribute right away, getting that bona fide playmaker is very beneficial for the Falcons. So I think that they should keep the number 4 overall pick and pick the best player available.
All right, Tree, what should they do? It's up to you.
I want to also make a comment on Deshaun Watson coming to Atlanta. It's like when you think about it, I think that would be really great for the city of Atlanta. I think that a lot of Falcon fans, if he actually was to come here, I know you, Jonathan, actually would look for another quarterback. So you probably would be happy if that happened as well. But I think that a lot of the fans would really fill up the dome, which I'm sorry, not the dome, but the new Mercedes-Benz Superdome. But I think that it would be great energy for the city of Atlanta, and it may just be a good pick-me-upper to bring more people to the stands. But as far as the 4th round draft pick, as I've stated before, I do think that the Falcons should keep it. And I think that whoever they pick, just like Brian said, they just need to make sure that it's a great impact player. With me, I look at things differently. My husband was a 4th round draft pick, and I just know the impact that he made in the game and how many times he went to the Pro Bowl. So I think that if they do pick a 4th rounder, this definitely needs to be somebody who is going to be a huge name for the Falcons, somebody that will go to the Pro Bowl, somebody that will make a huge impact for the Falcons and be a game changer. So I think they should keep the pick and just get somebody that will dominate.
But whatever the Falcons do, they better make sure they do it well because Carolina is coming up, but they better watch out for them New Orleans Saints. I think there's a reason why Sean Payton didn't play Jameson Winston and he played Tyson Hill, because I think he didn't want the rest of the NFL to see what type of offense they would run with Jameson Winston at the helm. So better watch out for them Saints.
Yeah, no doubt. Winston can sling it, man. That guy's got a gun for an arm, and with the tutelage of Sean Payton, he ain't gonna throw no 30 interceptions on New Orleans. You can bet you that. Well, okay, so for me personally, the whole Deshaun Watson thing, obviously that's a very attractive thought. Now, what would you have to give up? What would Houston, if you were Houston, what would you take back? Well, so to me, I'm thinking I got to have a quarterback. So I'm gonna ask for Matt Ryan. I'm gonna ask for you to eat up most of his salary. I want that number 4 first-round pick in the draft now. And to make sure that Matt's comfortable, I want his tag team partner, Julio Jones. I also want the first-round pick in 2022. If he gave me all that and maybe a second round in 23, I might be willing to make that trade. And can I tell you something? That actually would probably be a pretty good trade for both teams.
Ooh, yeah, that'd be an awful lot for the Falcons because you got, if you look at the Stafford deal, it was 3 ones.
Right. Yeah.
So you're basically giving up this 4th pick this year for Deshaun. That makes sense. And you're sitting your quarterback. Okay, stop right there. I'll be okay. But the number 1 next year in 22 and 23, you're gonna need to put some people around Deshaun. You don't have a line. You got wide receivers and cornerbacks. You got a donut team. The Mitroff was good at building a donut team. You don't have you're not going to fight and stop Tampa Bay's defensive front right now. You can't do it. You haven't been able to do it for 2 years. You're not going to be able to run the ball down people's throat and keep them off the field either. So I don't know if you want to give up all that draft capital. Why don't you just draft Justin Fields at 4 if you got to have a quarterback?
Well, it's going to be interesting. Roman God said Falcons should trade Matt Ryan to the Jets for their quarterback and a second-round pick. I mean, I don't know what you're thinking that the kid from USC is going to do here better than Ryan. I don't get that at all. And then our man Roman God 5, he says Winston's a horrible quarterback. I mean, he's a horrible quarterback because there was some kind of disconnect with him in Tampa Bay. I can't put my finger on it, but there was just some kind of disconnect. The guy is not as bad as you think. And the other thing too is, you still threw 30 touchdown passes. I only threw 30 interceptions, but 30 touchdown passes is a lot of touchdown passing in the NFL. So it's going to be very, very interesting. You look at this, it kind of reminds me of the situation we had when we first got Matt Ryan. If you remember, a lot of fans did not want Matt Ryan to be drafted. They were like, nah, Mike Vick somehow mysteriously is going to come back. They all wanted the big lineman out of LSU. What was his name?
Brian Dorsey.
Who turned out to be not very good player.
Yeah.
Right. But at the time, he was you remember Tyrone, he was considered to be a beast. And everybody kept saying, hey, man, the Falcons need an edge rusher. We'll work it out. We can wait another year for Mike to get out of prison, and we'll be good to go. But at the end of the day, Matt Ryan was the right pick. So the Falcons are at that same crossroad right now. This is a franchise-changing pick. They cannot mess it up. Cannot at all. Let's go back to social media real quick. Roman God says 30 interceptions, extremely high amount of picks. Yeah, it is. And Jansen Harris, this guy here, you talk about a young guy on the up-and-come D-led. He does something called Just Good Network, where he does probably 2 or 3 little blurbs a day, plus his show. Young man, sharp as iron. So be on the lookout for Jansen Harris. Great, great, great show. Just Good Network. One more time on social media. He said Sam Darnold would work well in the Falcons' offensive scheme. Am I missing something here? Sam Darnold? You're going to take him over Matt Ryan? Okay, let me take my shades off. Hold on.
I just didn't like him at USC when they played Ohio State. It was just him and Ronald Jones, but I mean, he got, it was the one of the Bosa boys and Chase Young. They just chased him all around that day. He doesn't do much for me. I wouldn't hand the keys over to him. Not when you got like Deshaun Watson sitting out there and Justin Hughes available. I don't know enough about the BYU kid. But got to do some research on him. Losing to Coastal Carolina didn't impress me much, so I'm just taking. I don't know if he's the next Mitchell Trubisky or if he can really play.
Well, what do you guys think about the idea of? You look at Arthur Smith. Clearly, they all think this current group they have is pretty good. What do you think about them rolling the dice and getting Najee Harris from Alabama at number 4? Oh, that fell on. That fell on like a.
Take over here, but that's a big no, Reverend. You get the big lineman. You get the big lineman at 4, and that's not going to be real sexy. If you get the big lineman from Oregon, he's going to play for 10 years and hopefully stabilize that line situation. Just play the best 5 guys. Jake Matthews, if you beat him out, you stay at left tackle. If you don't, then you move somewhere else. So if the kid's got to come in and start at right tackle, then let him beat out Caleb McGarry. If Caleb can't be the backup, then, if he can't go to guard, he can be the backup swing tackle. You need some talent on that line. That might be the best player available, and that's not going to be real. That's not going to go over well with the fan base. But if you got a tackle at 4, that might be the best player available, and I understand it. I would understand it wholeheartedly if they picked the tackle at 4.
Well, as we wrap this thing up, I'm gonna say what I've been saying all these weeks. I don't care who they draft. Okay, the only thing that I want out of this draft pick is that this person, whether it be at whatever position they play, they have got to be a game changer. If they have a 10-year career, I'm looking for at least 2 or 3 Pro Bowl appearances out of that, because it is, if you could get that, for example, out of offensive tackle, if you had a guy that could be really an anchor on this team, now all of a sudden everything opens up. You can go into maybe the second or third round and get yourself a serviceable running back, or you might find that Allison or one of the other guys you have on the roster already all of a sudden look pretty darn good because they're running behind someone, and Matt can stay upright. So, like I said, I don't care. If you think of Surtain, if you all of a sudden have a situation where you have a shutdown corner, you maybe can bring in another guy that can give you a little bit of pressure on defense. Great. I don't care. Just whoever it is, he better not be no bust, baby. That's all I got to say. All right, listen. Go ahead.
Yeah, I got one call to make. I covered the Bengals starting off, and the nicest guy in Cincinnati was Anthony Munoz. And all I have to do is ask Anthony, can this guy play? And he'll look at him for me, and he'll let me know. So I'm going to get back to y'all on that. If this guy's worth the 4th pick, he'll let me know, and we'll start banging the drum for him. But if not, if he's like, well, he needs some work, and, you know, it goes over all that, then we'll just keep it moving and, you know, move on to the next guy.
Well, that'll have it. I think that's the best way to wrap it up. Well, we always do the same thing on our program. We have guests. We want to make sure that people can find out more about you, websites, social media. So here's how we simply do it. Tyrone Poole, the floor is yours.
Thank you. People can go out and check out my foundation, Tyrone Poole 38 foundation.org. Again, it's Tyrone Poole 38 foundation.org. If you want to give your time, talent, treasure, hey, that's where you can find out what we're doing, past, present, and future. Also, you can find me on social media at Tyrone Poole 38. So all social media, Tyrone Poole 38.
Stay right there, brother. I'm going to type that up here on the screen. I'm going to leave you right here. Let's get this here. You said it's at Tyrone
Poole Foundation, Tyrone Poole 38 foundation.org, and all social media, Tyrone Poole 38.
All right, I'm going to pop it right up here on the screen so everybody can see it. We'll keep it simple, boys. Just go to I got to spell it right. How about that? Let's try to get that R in there. Got to make sure to do it right. Let's try it again. Bam. I think that's it right there. Boom. At Tyrone Poole 38. Go to that anywhere on social media. It'll have links to his various websites. You'll find out more about what he's doing at Tyrone Poole 38. Well, Mr. Poole, as always, brother, we appreciate you for taking time out of your busy schedule, man. God bless you, and we're going to have you back again real soon if your schedule allows.
Yeah, God bless you guys. Thank you.
God bless.
Talk to you, man.
All right, Mr. Brian Jones. You know how we do it. The floor is yours.
I appreciate it. I'm the trending sports and entertainment writer for popculture.com. You can find all my work at popculture.com or popculture.com/sports. We did a lot of coverage of the Super Bowl. I recently got to talk to Joe Montana for the second time in about 5 or 6 months. So you can go to popculture.com/sports to check out those stories. I'm going to have another Joe Montana story coming out later this week. So again, popculture.com/sports. You can also follow me on Twitter. That's at Brian Jones_PC. And I also have a podcast. It's Always Football Season. You can find that wherever you get your podcasts. And we also have a Facebook page for the podcast. It's facebook.com/Always Football Season.
See, when I grew up, that's going to be me. I'm going to be everywhere just like Brian. Hey, Affiliate Man says, hey, God bless everybody. We appreciate you, sir. Appreciate you sharing our broadcast as well. All right, to the Esquire par excellence, Mr. Deandre Hunter, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Reverend. You can find my content at DOrlandoAJC on Twitter. That'll take you to our Falcons page on AJC.com. And then the podcast, The Bow Tie Chronicles, comes out every Wednesday morning at 8 a.m., followed by the Cover 9 at 9 blog at 9 a.m. every Wednesday on AJC.com. Everything you need to know about the Atlanta Falcons.
There you go, guys. You can see it right underneath there. You see we have the ticker, AJC.com, or there it is right there. Hit them up on Twitter at DOrlandoAJC. Well, Mr. Ledbetter, as always, brother, we appreciate you so much, and we look forward to having you back with us real soon. Be blessed. All right. Well, Ms. Stolman, it's time for you to now do your thing. The floor is yours.
Well, thank you. Well, since Kendall Newsom had to step off, I will tell everybody where they can find Kendall Newsom and his nonprofit organization, Teach a Child to Fish. You can find him on Instagram at Kendall Newsom. And again, that's at Kendall Newsom, his name. And you will be able to look up all of the things that he's doing with his nonprofit if you want to be a part of it or just see what he's doing with the community. Lots of great things. And as for me, you can find me at It's Latresa on all social media. And then I also have my Ms. America International page, and you can find me on Instagram at MS America International 2020. But if you go to It's Latresa, you can see all of the things because I do tag myself with my beauty page and all of the things that I do with social media and giving back to the community.
Well, again, we appreciate you, and as you always do, all the great things. And guys, you can see it right there, big and bold for you. It's Latresa right there. So if you can't read it, I got it on big bold print for you there. Hopefully you guys can see it. And of course, we appreciate all those of you who have tuned into the broadcast. We got one last comment from social media. Our good friend from off of Twitter TV, Roman God 5, he says, have a great night all. And that is exactly what we're going to do as we wrap it up here. Again, we appreciate all those of you who tune in and watch our broadcast. Without you guys, we would be not on the air. So we appreciate you so much. If you want to follow the show, remember, follow us anywhere on social media at Real Talk Sports, the number 7. That's everywhere, IG, Twitter, Facebook. You can follow right there. Again, if you want to follow me personally, I'm at Minister J. Sim. I actually do a ministry broadcast 9:30 a.m. on these same platforms. It won't be on the Real Talk Sports Show, but it'll be on my personal page. It also is on WRTSFM's page, and it also streams that way on YouTube as well. So if you want to check me out there, please, ma'am, please, sir, do so. And if you need to reach me, if you have a guest that's doing something great off the field, in the world of sports, or they're just doing a great job coaching them up, please give me a call directly at 678-410-9833. We would love to have them on the broadcast with us. Well, again, guys, thank you for watching us. We appreciate you so much. You know, I'm going to encourage you before I get off the show, very, very important. I got to put the minister hat on. Listen, if you don't know the Lord Jesus Christ as your personal Savior, I'm going to tell you guys, please, ma'am, please, sir, get to know him today. Why? Nobody loves you like Jesus. Nobody at all. Not your mom, not your grandmom, not your auntie and them, not your bae, not your boo, not your BFF, not your bestie, nobody. Why? Because number one, he loves you, he made you, and he died for you. So it's real simple. If you want to have that connection with God, you need to do a couple of things. Number one, repent of your sins. Number two, believe that Jesus came here, fully God, fully man, and took all of your sins, past, present, and future, and bam, nailed them on the cross. And he rose from the dead. If you believe that and tell somebody, 2 wonderful things will happen. Number one, you become a citizen of the kingdom of heaven. Number 2, you become an adopted child of God and have all the rights therein, which means you can now go directly to God yourself. Don't need a Monsignor, don't need a pastor, don't need an intercessor. You can go to God yourself because he's your daddy. And you get to go to that wonderful place called heaven when you leave and avoid that nasty place called hell when you die. So I don't know about you. I like option number 1 and not option number 2. All right, guys. Me and Ms. Tree want to tell you again, we appreciate you guys for watching us. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, you can follow her. Let me get that up one more time before we sign off. It's simply at Latresa. You can go ahead and follow her right there. You can follow the show at Real Talk Sports 7, or you can follow me personally at Minister J. Sim. All right, guys, we appreciate you again so much. And until the next time, God bless you and have a wonderful, wonderful evening. So long.
Bye.